What is going on? Happy Cashflow Friday. Today, we're highlighting the 5 money movers. And why do I want you to focus on this? Is because of one thing. Here's the thing I realize when it comes to most people is that you don't understand how money works, but also when we look at what's going on in the global economics, we think that we consume so much of that, we don't really say, how can I make a difference in my, or let's say macroeconomics or in my life so that it can impact my family in a good way. So we're talking about that in Cashflow Friday, and I always like to go live before we go into the group to just get an opportunity for people to gain insight on, I think, how you need to be thinking. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So here's the reality: is you are subject to what is going on in economics right now only if you allow yourself to be fully, make sure that can transfer over okay, only when you're fully looking at what they're saying on the news, on the headlines. But a skill that, as an investor in standpoint, that would allow you to make small, like to put your money in the economics. So what do? So they want, if you borrow at a lower interest rate, well, you generally, if you get a lower interest rate, 3%, more people come into the economy, right? Real estate market is booming, and the let's just stay on that for a second. And so this is a lot of reason why I always talk about new construction, because of why, even though the interest rates right now are probably 4 to 6%, I mean, sorry, 5 to 6%, I always am highlighting a lot of new construction builders because their situation is not based on what goes on in the market. They are willing to put money behind it. And so, because regardless of what's going on the economical level, on a national level, their macro that, hey, I'm building these brand new homes and I need to move them, and they're good homes, and we need to find the best way to get better incentives for people to put their money and stuff in the market. And so when I see this, when you see that debt cycle, you got to realize, like, interest rates are high. Why are interest rates, you know, going in and out of the 6 and 7%? Is because they want to have control of the economy. And if you want to have control of the economy, you have to say, okay, this is true, but I'm going to put my money and I'm going to put my energy in another place. And so that's why it's super important to actually understand that. And so the other things, so we're gonna talk about all five, and I'll list all five. It's come to Cashflow Friday to learn more, ask questions. So the link is below, and you can also get replays when you get in there as well. Internal politics, global power competition, acts of nature, and innovation and technology. Those are the five things that you have to understand if these things are happening. What's going on. So I'll talk about one of the other ones, and that is the innovation and technology. Now, a lot of us see this going on right now, and I want you to realize, like, more of us realize what's going on in the AI space. It's going to take, it's taking jobs. Well, let's ask, why is it taking jobs? Number one, if you have a very routine job that doesn't require much thinking, that doesn't require like intellectual thoughts, that doesn't require much thinking, you're the one that's most prone to have your job replaced. So and let's think about, how have this been represented in the past? Well, most things, when the introduction of the internet came in, so I think the internet boom happened in the 1990s. So that's when the internet came in. That's where Microsoft, that's where Google, that's where a lot of these companies that we operate off of right now actually exist. And so what's going to happen is there's a there's a little internal battle when it comes to and guess what? This goes into some other points, which I'm saying, like, understand this. AI, ChatGPT, it's the thing right now, right? Will it be like the main driver? I don't know. You got Gemini, you got Claude, you have a lot of these different AI innovations, but it also matters on how smart they can be able to do the task. And so when we look at these things and we say, okay, well, what were we at? And this is why I like when you understand where you're at and you adopt the correct way, then you realize, hey, I need to put myself and my family in a better position so that I am not becoming susceptible because I'm so far behind. The people that's gonna get behind or on internet is people, baby boomers who's like, hey, I'm good where I'm at. I don't need to go make no more money. I'm just gonna sit back, and that's their business, right? But the people who adapt and integrate it into your business, like, you're the one who's always gonna make more leeway and I think have the most impact on how you impact your family legacy. So when I think of AI, like, yes, a lot of opportunities does exist, but this is like just the second thing of the factors that make money move. And so, because here's the thing, and this is why I learned, and I had to learn this too, and I'm gonna go back to my story, but when we allow the headlines to dictate what we do, how we do, instead of looking underneath the headlines and say, okay, what's really happening? Did you know that, like, the government initiated a AI campaign that's want them to try to get ahead of some of the other countries, and they're investing millions of dollars into other companies, these AI companies, and sometimes we can get wrapped up in who's in office and that's important, but you only have control of one thing, your legacy. And when we realize, like, what's going on around here, then we say, where should I spend my time? And as a business owner and someone who wants to build assets, there are loopholes and there's chances for you to be able to jump in and act and put your family in a better situation. So this is just like one of the things that we'll go on, and so we'll talk about acts of nature and how that impacts us, and even like the internal politics. And so I think the thing when it comes to Cashflow Friday is, like, my job is to help you use Friday as a way to be able to pay you more assets, pay you from your assets. And so as they pay you from your assets, you put yourself in a better position so you and your family is not dependent on what is going on in the economic world. So, and I think sometimes that's hard to do. And to be honest with you, I don't even subscribe to a lot of things that's going on because I can only control what I can control. It's important to be informed. But I remember in 2008 when I had graduated from college, and it was probably 2 to 3 years later, I realized, oh man, that was a subprime loan crisis, and a lot of these things were going on. I'm like, man, I was in the depths of, like, playing ball, and my main thing was, to be honest with you, we played Texas A&M, our very first game. Like, we won that game. I was excited. I didn't care what was going on in the world, and that's just a level of focus. That's not like me being insensitive to what other people have going on, but that's the dedication and focus that you have to have. And by doing that, you are able to control what's controllable. And God has blessed you to have the focus to put yourself in a better position. So I just want you to realize that, like, a lot of things that's happening, it's Bible made it very clear. Ain't nothing new under the sun. So join us in Cashflow Friday and share